I chose to do my presentation on the French surrealist artist Yves Tanguy. We will get back to him later, but now we will discuss the movement he is related to, Surrealism. Surrealism is a 20th century art movement which sought to release the creative potential of the unconscious mind and unlock the power of the imagination. Disdained with rationalism and realism of art up to this point, Surrealists believed the rational mind repressed the power of the imagination. French writer André Breton, who was given credit with creating the name Surrealism, explained it by saying, "Surrealism is psychic automatism in its pure state, by which one proposes to express verbally, by means of the written word, or in any other manner, the actual functioning of thought." He says artists should bypass reason and rationality by accessing their unconscious mind and creating art out of whatever their mind is able to untap. The major influences of the Surrealist movement were the Enlightenment, the influential 17th and 18th century intellectual movement that championed reason and individualism, had suppressed the superior qualities of the irrational unconscious mind. Also, the work of Sigmund Freud was profoundly influential for Surrealists, particularly his book, The Interpretation of Dreams from 1899. Freud legitimized the importance of dreams and the unconscious as valid revelations of human emotion and desires. What makes a work of art surreal? At its basis, the imagery is outlandish, perplexing, and even uncanny, as it is sometimes meant to jolt the viewer out of their comforting assumptions. Nature, however, is the most frequent imagery. Max Ernst was obsessed with birds and had a bird alter ego. Salvador Dali's works often include ants or eggs, and Joan Miro relied strongly on vague biomorphic imagery. The artist I chose to focus on is Yves Tanguy. Tanguy's paintings were a unique, immediately recognizable style of non-representational surrealism. They show vast, abstract landscapes, mostly in a tightly limited palette of colors, only occasionally showing flashes of contrasting color accents. Typically, these alien landscapes are populated with various abstract shapes, sometimes angular and sharp as shards of glass, sometimes with intriguingly organic look to them, like giant amoeba suddenly turned to stone. In Paris in 1922, Yves stumbled upon a painting by Giorgio di Chirico and was so deeply impressed he resolved to become a painter himself in spite of his complete lack of formal training. Around 1924, Tanguy was introduced into the circle of surrealist artists around André Breton. Tanguy quickly began to develop his own unique painting style, giving him his first solo exhibition in Paris in 1927. The first piece of Tanguy's art I will analyze is Mama, Papa is Wounded. Mama, Papa is Wounded depicts Tanguy's most common subject matter of war. The work is painted in hyper-realistic style with its distinctive limited color palette, both of which create a sense of dreamlike reality. Tanguy often found the titles of works while looking through psychiatric case histories for compelling statements by patients. Given that, it is difficult to know if this work is relevant to his own family history, as he claimed to have imagined the painting in its entirety before it even began. His brother was killed in World War I, and the bleakness of the landscape may refer generally to losses suffered in the war by thousands of French families. Di Chirico's influence on Tanguy's work is obvious here in his use of falling shadows and classical torso in the landscape. The next piece is Furniture of Time. Furniture of Time shows a vast abstract landscape as well with a hyper-realistic style. It also shows Tanguy's distinctive limited color palette, only including mostly like grays here. Both of these lead to the piece to look like it came straight from the abstract wasteland of Tanguy's brain. All the shapes are discernible, some shapes are sharp, others are amorphous, and the final piece is Slowly Toward the North. Much like the other two, this piece shows a vast abstract wasteland inhabited by sharp and amorphous unknown figures. Some things you are able to make out, but the piece makes you feel like you're in a dream state. The small color palette is present here, but with a little more color than usual in some of the items. Tanguy's style was an important influence on several younger painters, such as Roberto Matta, Wolfgang Paulin, and Esteban Frances, who adopted a surrealistic style in the late 1930s. Later, Tanguy's painting influenced the style of the French animated movie Le Roi et l'Oiseau by Paul Grimaud.